I was thinking to myself today, I might well do a twist on an old Southern dish. I'm sure you heard of Salisbury steak or hamburger steaks, but let's do it with meatballs. You know we gotta have that gravy over some mashed potatoes. Let's get to it. It's JB's Southern Hands. I got 1 pound of ground hamburger meat. We're gonna add an egg to that. Right, egg right in there. All right. Add a little bit of salt and pepper. Some garlic powder. Onion powder. Some fresh minced parsley. Some Worcestershire sauce. You know I have a tough time saying that word. I don't know what it is. We're gonna add some breadcrumbs to this. We're gonna get us a nice mix. Just gotta get in there with this. So I don't like to make my meatballs too big, so I take a 1/4 measuring cup. That's just like a guide. Scoop it out. Try to keep one clean hand. Set it on the plate. Just gonna keep repeating this step. That's perfect. That's the size we were looking for right there. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 365. We're gonna get these meatballs a nice little sear on the outside. We're gonna make sure the inside's cooked just by throwing them in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes. But let's put these right here. I got the pan just lightly greased with some olive oil. But we all know hamburger meat craves its own grease, so I didn't have to add too much. We're gonna put those right in. You want to make sure you give them some room to cook. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about them sticking either. When meat reaches a certain temperature, it'll let go of the pan, as I like to say. So just let it cook on that side, and then continue to turn until you get all sides nice and dark brown. Now that this has been cooking for a little bit, I'm gonna throw 3 whole cloves of garlic in there. I'm leaving the whole because I just want the flavor of it. I smashed them though in the middle to release some of those juices, but we want to take these out. We're not gonna leave that. So as you can see, we got our meatballs nice and brown on the outside. I'm gonna transfer them to this cast iron skillet. We don't want to transfer in this grease. And we also want to keep the flavor of this pan. So I'm going to transfer them to this cast iron skillet and put it in the oven just to make sure the inside's cooked. We don't want to serve any raw meat, still just make sure they spaced out. We got them nice and brown on the outside, nice and cooked, looking real good. Let's have a quick look at our meatballs. Yes, I'm gonna crack one open so you can see if it's done. Look at that, oh yeah. For the potatoes, I'm gonna use the Idaho yellow potatoes. I'm not a big fan of the russet potatoes, but if you like those, more power to you. But I like to use these medium-sized yellow potatoes. I made sure I washed them and scrubbed the outside to get all the dirt and grime off of them. Let's put these in some boiling water. I'm gonna let these cook until they soften the inside. I like to take a fork and poke them to make sure they done in the inside. So as you can see, our potatoes are finally finished. Still a little hot. What I like to do is, when I get them out the water, I run some cold water on them, and then peel the skin on them. I like to leave them hot because I'm gonna add the butter right to them, have that butter melt. We're gonna get it a nice press. That's 3 tablespoons of butter. All right, then I'm gonna add some pepper to taste, and then some salt to taste. That's it. I don't have to overcomplicate this. All right, now we're gonna take our potato masher. We're gonna go to work. Then make sure you get a little taste. Make sure you got enough salt in it. That's how I like my mashed potatoes. So we got our meatballs done, and we got our potatoes done. Now on to the gravy. You know what I always say about the brown in the bottom of that pan, that's flavor. We're gonna use that. I'm gonna first start by adding like half a stick of butter to the pan. All right, now that our butter's almost melted, we're gonna add our onions. We're gonna sweat these down a little bit. And now that our onions been cooking for a little bit, we're gonna add 4 tablespoons of flour right to this. Turn your heat down low, we don't want this to burn. We're just gonna stir it in. I apologize, I didn't realize my video cut off, but all I did was, after I added the 4 tablespoons of flour to the butter and onion mixture, I went on ahead and poured my beef stock, and it was 2 cups of beef stock. And I added some salt and pepper, and then a tablespoon of that leftover grease from the meatballs. We're just gonna let that thicken up. Make sure you got your heat on low. The gravy's looking good. Now that we finished with our gravy, let's put everything together. I can't wait to taste it. You can't tell me that don't look good. Oh my goodness. Let's try this out right now. Oh, look at this side. I'm gonna pick this meatball up first. I know I showed you before, but that's perfect. Get these mashed potatoes with it. It's good gravy. Potato is nice and smooth. Good flavor in the meat. Not dry. Alright, what more can I say? Like always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It's JB Sutton Hands.